Robert Maginnis. He's a senior strategist at the Pentagon and joins us from Woodbridge, Virginia. So it's a pleasure seeing you once more. Firstly, you talk about what you called a coming space war in two of your books, Future War and Alliance of Evil. What are your thoughts on this Russian missile test?
Well, the Russians have done this in the past. The Chinese have, we have, the Indians have. Interestingly, just 2 weeks ago, the Chinese launched Shijian-21, which basically is a robotic arm that can reach out and grab any of the space junk that it wants. It can also reach out and crush a satellite. The Russians have a long reputation, even back to the old Cold War, whereas they were suspected of having weaponized space, in fact. And now, of course, they've got with us the International Space Station. And of course, when the Russians blew up their own satellite today, that space station had to go through a cloud of hundreds of pieces. Eventually, that will come into Earth's atmosphere. But the Chinese have a space station as well that is going to have something that is far more superior than the Russian space station. It's going to have military modules aboard that will allow for lasers and microwaves and missile-based anti-satellite systems as well. So I would argue, given the hypersonic tests that we saw recently from the Chinese and the other hypersonic tests that we and the Russians have done, that outer space is no longer not a safe place. It is going to be a space war of sorts, certainly an arms race where one nation seeks to up the other nation in terms of controlling what is essential for a modern society, and that is outer space.
And Washington has expressed concern that astronauts and the International Space Station are now in danger. How is that exactly?
Well, today when that rocket was destroyed, or that orbiter was destroyed, it created a cloud of particles. And interestingly, every 93 minutes, the International Space Station has to go through that cloud. Now, the outer crust of the International Space Station is not all that tough. So what happened is the astronauts and the cosmonauts had to get in their emergency capsules in the event that there was a puncture to the International Space Station. Keep in mind, there are 4,500 plus satellites in orbit. There are millions of pieces of particles from old satellites and rockets that are already up there, and many nations are trying to put more into outer space. And so it's becoming rather dangerous. Even the best of traffic cops in outer space are going to have a hard time avoiding hitting one of these pieces of junk just because there's so much of it right now.
All right, Mr. Robert Maginnis, once more appreciate your time. Thank you.